We've got a shocking Cincinnati Bengals trade update that's sending shockwaves through the fanbase right now. After weeks, no months, of non-stop speculation surrounding Trey Hendrickson, a brand new report has just dropped, and it's turning heads across the NFL. This one isn't just another rumor, it's something that could seriously shake up the Bengals' defense and impact the team's playoff push as we move closer and closer to the trade deadline. But that's not all. We've also got fresh updates leading into the Bengals' huge matchup next week, and trust me, there's a lot to unpack today. Before we dive deeper into the latest Bengals developments, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like, and hit that bell icon so you never miss breaking Bengals news. Alright, let's get back to business. Now, we all remember how the offseason was packed with Trey Hendrickson trade chatter, and just when it seemed like things had finally quieted down, those talks have started heating up again. Even after Cincinnati's recent statement win, reports have started circulating once more. And this time, the noise isn't coming from random sources, it's coming from some of the biggest names in the game, including Adam Schefter, suggesting the Bengals could still be open to moving Hendrickson. Even though Duke Tobin and the front office remain focused on keeping this roster strong, there's still uncertainty after Hendrickson's short one-year extension. And now, with this new report breaking, it's clear the situation is far from over. And now, things are getting really interesting, because multiple reports have confirmed that the Dallas Cowboys have entered the picture as a team seriously exploring a trade for Trey Hendrickson before the NFL trade deadline. Yes, you heard that right. The same Trey Hendrickson who's been one of the Bengals' most dominant defensive forces over the past few seasons. The Cowboys, along with a few other contenders, have reportedly been evaluating what it would take to pry him away from Cincinnati. This latest wave of speculation kicked off after a statement from inside the Cowboys organization claimed that nothing is off the table when it comes to making moves to strengthen their roster this season. That comment alone set off a storm across the league, especially since the Bengals have been quietly listening to offers on Hendrickson in recent weeks. But let's be real here, trading away Hendrickson doesn't make much sense right now. Cincinnati just picked up a massive win against the Steelers, and that victory might have changed everything. A few weeks ago, if the Bengals had fallen short, maybe the front office considers retooling or even looking ahead to next season. But that's not the case anymore. That win wasn't just another W, it was a message. The Bengals are still fighting, still in the hunt, and still believe in this roster. So while the Cowboys' interest is real, and seeing a former NFL sack leader on their radar isn't surprising, for the Bengals, the timing couldn't be worse. Hendrickson has been the heart of this defense, and moving him now would send the wrong message to a locker room that's finally gaining momentum. Simply put, this is one rumor Bengals fans are hoping stays just that, a rumor. And now, this story just took another turn. NFL insider Tony Pauline has also backed up the growing reports linking Trey Hendrickson to the Dallas Cowboys. His latest piece mentions that the Cowboys have been one of the most consistent names tied to Hendrickson as the trade deadline inches closer. According to Pauline, if the asking price for Hendrickson is a second-round pick, Dallas might consider that a no-brainer deal. And some believe they could even push harder, using the extra first-rounder they picked up from the Micah Parsons trade, to sweeten the offer. Now, that sounds bold, but from a Bengals perspective, it's also completely crazy. Hendrickson isn't just another pass rusher, he's the energy, the leadership, and the spark that drives this defense. We've been through this before, remember? During training camp, when Hendrickson's holdout had everyone panicking, trade rumors were flying back then too, talks about potential deals with the Lions, even wild packages of multiple draft picks. But in the end, Trey returned, signed his short-term deal, and immediately went back to business like the pro he is. So here's the real question, is there truly any offer worth losing a player like Trey Hendrickson right now? Even if the Cowboys dangled a first and a second, would that really make the Bengals better this season? It's not just about draft picks, it's about keeping the team's identity intact. Hendrickson is more than stats, he's the heartbeat of the Bengals' front seven. Sure, the Cowboys have assets to play with, thanks to that Parsons deal, but that doesn't mean Cincinnati should even think twice about trading their defensive cornerstone. Bottom line, unless something massive changes, this feels like a story driven more by outside speculation than actual movement inside the Bengals building. Right now, everything with the Bengals feels like it's changing week by week, and a lot of that depends on the health of Joe Burrow. Reports have suggested a possible return by mid-December, but fans aren't convinced. Some believe it could take longer, while others think Burrow might surprise everyone and come back sooner than expected. Either way, his recovery timeline is shaping how the Bengals approach every move, including what happens with Trey Hendrickson. Here's where things get tricky. Hendrickson is heading into a contract year. Whether the Bengals keep him or another team somehow lands him, someone's going to have to pay big this offseason. And that's a major factor teams like the Cowboys will be weighing before making any kind of aggressive offer. Let's not forget, Hendrickson's still dealing with that injury, something that's gone a bit under the radar outside Cincinnati. The Steelers were certainly hoping he missed that Thursday night matchup, but Trey's toughness has never been in question. He's the kind of player who fights to get back on the field no matter what. Now, from the Bengals side, this is where logic has to win out. You don't trade away your best defensive player, you build around him. Especially when you've still got Joe Flacco holding things down, and the team fighting to stay alive in the playoff race. Once Burrow returns, this team can flip the switch fast. That's why the smarter move would be to reinvest, strengthen the offensive line, add depth in the secondary, maybe even grab a corner or safety before the trade deadline. As for Hendrickson, keeping him sends a message: Cincinnati isn't folding. They're still chasing a playoff spot, still building a complete team around their franchise quarterback, and still refusing to give up. Because for this team, and this city, the job's not finished yet. And just when you think things couldn't get any more exciting for Cincinnati, the story takes another inspiring turn. Some are saying the Bengals might still look to add depth at tight end after a recent roster shuffle, but the bigger story right now is the rise of Joe Flacco. After that legendary performance against the Steelers, a division-changing win, Flacco reminded everyone exactly what veteran leadership looks like. But beyond the stats and the highlight throws, it's what he said afterward that really struck a chord. He talked about how the first thing he wanted to do after that game was go home, talk to his wife, and celebrate the moment with his kids. You could hear the joy and humility in his words, the kind that makes you proud to call him a Bengal. For a guy who's already a Super Bowl winning quarterback, this comeback story in Cincinnati feels different. It's personal. It's raw. And it's been nothing short of inspiring. Credit where it's due, Duke Tobin and the Bengals front office made a gutsy move bringing in Flacco when the team desperately needed a spark. And what a payoff it's been. He's spreading the ball beautifully, getting Ja'Marr Chase heavily involved again, reigniting chemistry with T. Higgins, and giving this offense a sense of rhythm it had been missing. Even national voices are starting to believe. NFL analyst Kay Adams recently said, "If the Bengals lost that game, they might have been cooked. But they're not. They'd found something, and they're ready to go." And honestly, she's right. Something has changed. The Bengals are playing with confidence, with fire, and with that never-die attitude that defines this city. They're not done. Not even close. The Bengals are back, and if this energy keeps building, the rest of the AFC better be ready. That second half last week said it all. Joe Flacco gave Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins the freedom to go make plays, and when those two get chances, good things always happen. That's really the secret for Cincinnati right now. You already have one of the best wide receiver duos in the entire NFL. You've got Ja'Marr Chase, arguably the top receiver in the game, and T. Higgins right beside him. Just get them the ball, and let them do what they do best. And we saw that in full force against the Steelers. For a defense that's paid top dollar for stars like TJ Watt and Jalen Ramsey, they simply couldn't stop the Bengals' passing attack. Even behind an offensive line that's been inconsistent all season, Cincinnati found rhythm, and it looked dangerous. What's wild is that, after everything this team has gone through, injuries, setbacks, and trade rumors, they're still right in the playoff conversation. Now, yes, reports about a possible Trey Hendrickson trade are still circling, and anything can happen as the deadline approaches. But if we're being honest, this feels like a Bengals team that's found new life. Maybe they make a move. Maybe they stand pat. Either way, this group isn't done fighting. Cincinnati is building momentum at the perfect time, and if Flacco keeps connecting with Chase and Higgins like this, don't be surprised if the Bengals start shocking people down the stretch. Because right now, they're not playing like a team ready to rebuild. They're playing like a team ready to make a run.